In this session, I'm going to discuss how to upload a text document or a Word document. We need to make sure that editing is on. So in the upper right hand corner, in the block that tells you the name of the course, you will see in the right hand side the turn editing on. When it's on, you'll know because it'll say turn editing off, as it does here. So I know I have editing on. I'm going to scroll down to our first topic, and you'll see that inside this section there are two control panels to the right hand side, and what these are gonna, the one here on the left is add a resource, the one here on the right is add an activity. Now whenever in doubt, when you're looking at these, you see the little question mark right here next to it. If I click on it, what I get is a window that pops up that kind of helps explain what that function does. And it's a separate pop-up window that you can then keep, kind of minimize it, or even, I guess, print it out if you really wanted to. But those become very helpful. So we're going to click on the scroll down menu, and our options will appear. Now we'll get several options that appear. One is insert a label, compose a text page, web page, link to a file or website, display directory, add IMS content package. Some of those are a little further into than where we're going to go, but for this, let's just compose a text page. And I'll click on that, and it's going to drop me into a new window. This new window will be where I provide the content for the text page. Okay, and again, if you notice on this page, you'll see question marks. Those are always there to serve as a safety net to give you some extra explanation. Now here where it says name, obviously you have to compose a name for the text page. Now the name is important because that's what essentially shows up. That's the first piece of text that a student will see. So it needs to be descriptive to what you're doing. Okay. For this, I'm just going to write test page. Now when we scroll down, there's a couple other sections here to consider. Now notice also, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but right next to the name, you'll see a red asterisk. There are some areas that will be requirements, and those areas are always marked with a red asterisk. So the summary does not have a red asterisk, which means what the summary would mean, it's not even something necessarily students will see. What students will see is the name and then the full text. It just is more of a resource to kind of, if it's a lengthy project or a lengthy assignment, you can have them directed to the summary of it. So we're going to skip that, not fill that in. I don't think that's needed. And then we'll come down here to the full text, and this is where you would add whatever bit of information that you may need. Whatever you cut and paste something in from a Word document you've created, you can create it in here. Just type a little blurb in there. Okay. Then you're going to scroll down, and really plain text format is probably the safest way to go. You don't want to go to HTML or Moodle auto format, which Moodle auto format would transfer if you brought something over into Moodle, like cutting and pasting in, and you put that, it would automatically format to fit what Moodle will accept. So if you are having difficulties with something, that could be an option. Then you get some other options down here. One is same window or new window. Same window would mean that inside Moodle, when the student clicks on it, it'll take you to a new page, and that you would have to get back to the original page, click the home link at the bottom or the back arrow at the top for your web browser. New window would make a pop-up window, and let's do new window. I think pop-up windows work. Now as soon as that happened, all these other choices came up. Show the course block, allow the window to be resized, allow the window to be scrolled, and that's when that window pops up, that the students would be able to have those functions to do it. And there are quite a few default settings that's what it jumps to, or what Moodle jumps to, and I would suggest you can play around with those, but I think it's somewhat unnecessary to at times, especially in the beginning. I think that you could just leave those as is. Okay, And you want to make sure you set the visible to show, so that way the students would be able to view it. But if you wanted to hide it so that they couldn't see it, you could always put it into place, click hide, and then when you wanted them to see it, come back and turn it on. Now the ID number isn't something we're going to get too deep into because it deals with being able to lock it, creating a locked text that for students to access or anyone to access, they would have to have the ID number. It's a way to kind of protect it, and you would then have to give them the ID so that they could get in. That's a little more advanced setting that we're going to get into right now. I'm going to hit. Oh, one other aspect that I want to point out here is at the bottom of the page. If you scroll down to the bottom of any one of your pages inside Moodle, what you'll find is an option here for Moodle Docs for this page, and that's always a nice safety net. That would always take you to the Moodle Doc page that helps explain what this function is a little more in detail. And also here you can see your home link. That this, if I don't hit save and return to course and I click on this, which is the abbreviation or the abbreviated title of the course, it'll take me back to that initial home page. But we're going to hit save and return to course. Now, having done that, I'm going to scroll down a bit. Okay, and if you noticed in week 1 there, you'll see test page that we just created. You'll see a picture of a little Word document, test page, and because editing is on, I have these other functions next to it. I can shift it to the right, a little indentation. Once that happens, another arrow appears that would let me move it left again if I wanted to. These 2 arrows allow me to move it up or down, changing the place and the sequence in the page. This is the update. If I click on this, it takes me right back to the screen we were at, and that would allow me to make any changes or alterations. This just completely deletes it. And this eye, when the eye is open, it's visible. When the eye is closed, as you'll see when I click on it here, it means that it's not, so that the student wouldn't be able to view that. And it's one way to be able to hide things from the student inside a topic or a week as you move throughout the course, at least an individual item. So if I click on the link, it'll pop up in a new window. It'll have the information that I typed in right there at the top in a plain text. And because I allowed all the settings on there, I can minimize this, I can scroll it up and down, I can print it, I can save it, I can cut and paste it. It gives some options for the student the same way any Word document would. But to remove it, you just hit delete. Are you absolutely sure you want to completely delete? Yes. And then it'll bring you back into the page and you'll see that it's now gone. One of the nice features about Moodle is that as you're working in it, if you're concerned about losing things or where items have gone, if you scroll to the right-hand panel, you'll see a block for recent activity. And if you notice, there's full report of recent activity. Okay, if I were to click on that, it would give me all the activity and items that were saved and worked on at the time, so you could always go back and correct any errors if something is missing or you decide that you like something better. It's a nice little safeguard that's there in place.